At these movies back for another video. And today we're looking at another James Bond film in the 60th years of Bond. It's coming up on the 5th of October. So this week we're going to be looking at the fourth outing from Roger Moore, Moonraker. So yeah, I've got it on Blu-ray with a nice magnet on the front there, and I've also found this recently that I had for many years and had put away, and came across it recently, and it is a movie program at the time for the film. So we're going to have a look at this as well as a little extra bonus. So yeah. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing by hitting the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you'll be informed when I upload a new video. Please leave a comment on the video. It's great to have comments. Have you seen this film? What did you think of it? All this sort of stuff is really good. Please give the video a thumbs up as well. That really does help out the channel, and really do appreciate that. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm over there, and I post pictures and the odd little video every now and again. Okay, so let's get on with the Bond review today of Moonraker. Moonraker came out in 1979 and it was a certificate PG in the UK. It ran for 2 hours and 6 minutes. After a space shuttle which has been loaned to the United Kingdom is hijacked, James Bond is asked to step in and get to the root of the problem. The release date in the UK was the 26th of June 1979, and this was directed by Lewis Gilbert. Music was by John Barry, and it was distributed by United Artists. Cast included Roger Moore as James Bond, Richard Keel as Jaws, Lois Chills as Dr. Holly Goodhead, Corinne Clery as Corinne Dufour, Michael Lonsdale as Hugo Drax, Blanche Ravaillac as Dolly, Emily Bolton as Manuela, Desmond Llewellyn as Q, Lois Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny, Bernard Lee as M, and Walter Cotell as General Gogo. Also starred Geoffrey Keane as Sir Frederick Grey. Now on to some trivia about the film. The scene in which the gondola converts into a hovercraft and elevates out of the water succeeded with the 5th attempt. During the first 4 takes, the vehicle was so unstable that Sir Roger Moore fell into the water and he needed to have his silk suit replaced for each take. It was fortunate that the stunt worked during the 5th take because he was wearing the last available silk suit. The cost for this movie was $30 million, nearly as much as the first 8 films combined, without taking into account of inflation. The cable that Jaws bit was actually made of licorice. The opening sequence concludes with George free falling into a circus big top and then comes crashing down around him. Footage was shot of Richard Keel staggering out of the wreckage, but this has now been lost. A few stills from that scene are shown in a DVD extra. Producer Albert Broccoli complained that Maurice Binder's title sequence cost more than the entire budget of Dr. No in 1962. This was the highest grossing Bond movie up until the release of GoldenEye in 1995. The fight between James Bond and Chang, this movie had the largest amount of breakaway sugar glass used in a single scene. Bernard Lee's final appearance as M. The actor died when For Your Eyes Only was in pre-production. During the cable car stunt, the high above Rio de Janeiro, a real cliffhanger moment occurred when stunt Richard Graydon slipped and was hanging for dear life. The rest of the crew, including Ken Adam, were petrified while the camera was rolling and they were watching from a vantage point. And finally, a moonraker has 2 dictionary definitions. It is a synonym for a moon sail, which is the highest sail of a ship. It is also a term from a Wiltshire folk story where smugglers try to hide contraband, pretend to rake the water in a pond so as to catch the reflection of the moon. It is sometimes used to refer to a man of extreme ambition, which it could apply to either Bond or Drax. So on to the edition that I have, and again I got one of these magnets with the wonderful poster art that we got for the film. Really did like this design, thought it was fantastic with all the Bond girls. You got Jaws flying through the air and Drax commanding him, and then you've got the scene with the space, the astronauts coming out of this space shuttle with that sort of climactic space battle. Take the magnet off, and again I've just fixed some magnetic strips here. Popped it in a black case because I think it kind of complements the artwork. And there we go, there's packed with special features once again. A little bit of a write-up of the film. Open it up. Now actually in here I've actually got a Blu-ray disc for Your Eyes Only. I think I picked that up on eBay really cheap. I didn't have the case for it, but I just popped it in here. And then we have the Moonraker disc. So I'll just get that internal artwork out so you can have a look. And there we go, that's the sort of design that we got on this particular piece. There are several designs available, but yeah, just showing Bond in his astronaut outfit. So on to my thoughts about this film. Yep, I really enjoyed this film. As a child growing up, this was for many years my favourite James Bond film. I think at the time we were sort of riding on the success of Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Star Wars, and it was just about that time where, you know, cinema had exploded and you were getting these amazing sort of science fiction epic films, and this was sort of, you know, no exception. I always loved the sort of globe-trotting feel about this film. I mean, obviously Bond goes from sort of from France to the sort of wonderful chateau where Drax lives, and then it moves on to Venice, and you see the wonderful architecture, and that fantastic scene with the gondola that turns into the hovercraft. And then we move on to Rio and the carnival there, and the wonderful fantastic scenic scenes with the cable car. And then obviously we then move on to the Amazon, you know, the boat going through the Amazon, and then it winds up in this sort of complex, you know, out of the Mayan or Inca temples, you know, Drax's sort of headquarters for launching the shuttles to his space station, you know, and the climactic end on the space station. And I mean, yeah, for a lot of people, I think they don't really think this is a very good Bond film. Too far-fetched, ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it was sort of Bond going into space, but I think as a child, it just really resonated with me that, you know, this was amazing. I'd never seen anything like it before, Bond going into space. And just the whole globe trotting around the world, it just felt sort of so amazing, you know, to see all these countries, you know. And at the time, me watching this, there was no internet. The only way you could probably see sort of countries would be on travel videos or this kind of thing. You know, sort of travel back then wasn't as freely available as it is now, you know, and as I say, being a child, it was just fantastic. It really sort of felt, you know, wow, this is amazing. And yeah, for many years this was my #1 Bond film. And again, you know, typical sort of Roger Moore era of James Bond. You know, there's a lot of sort of one-liners in here which probably not politically correct anymore. You'd never be able to get away with that, what he says in a few things in this film. But, you know, it's a product of its time. And growing up with it, you know, I didn't sort of, you know, realise sort of obviously, you know, a few things it was saying. But nevertheless, you know, you've got a strong female characters in this. I mean, Lois Chills as Dr. Goodhead, she was quite a strong character, and she held her own against Bond. Yes, there were sort of those sort of scenes where it's like, you need to save me kind of thing, but you know, I still think the women in this film still came across as strong characters at times, which, you know, is always good to see. And it was really great to see the return of Jaws. Obviously, he'd been in for The Spy Who Loved Me, and yeah, it was nice to see a return to him. Obviously, they kind of sort of changed the character towards the end of the film. He sort of fell in love with one of the sort of workers of Drax, you know, and he kind of sort of saw the error of his ways and sort of tried to help Bond in the end. So that kind of, you know, changed the character in some ways, which I suppose they could have brought him back in another film, but they obviously decided, you know, 2 outings as Jaws was enough. And again, as I say, this, you know, there's some wonderful action scenes in this film. You know, the cable car scene, that's fantastic. You know, at the beginning of the film, you've got the sort of falling out of the plane, the free fall. That was done really well. And some great set pieces in this film. Now I'm going to come on to the part of the video where we have a look at this programme. I believe that we got this when we went to see the film in 1979. I can't quite remember. It was either gifted to me or I went to see the film at the cinema. I can't really remember because I was very young. I've probably been about 5 or 6 years. 79. I'd have been 7, so maybe, possibly I went to see it, but I really can't remember, to be honest. But anyway, we'll have a look at this programme. Oh, and I mean, it's quite old, and obviously the staples have come out here, but there we go. And a wonderful title song from Shirley Bassey as well. I think there's a little bit of sellotape that I've repaired it at some point. And you've got some nice black and white stills here. Move it across. We've got the Mayan temples. Wonderful carnival in Rio de Janeiro. And that great fight scene. And this was all sugar glass, where it goes crashing through the clock. The cable car. Yeah, I was really pleased that I'd found this. Had it stored away. So when I found it, I thought, oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to show this in my Bond. That would have been made of licorice. Obviously made to look like it was, you know, sort of steel. And that wonderful line that Q says, I think Bond is reattempting entry, sir. And there we go, here's the Ken Adams, Albert Broccoli, Lewis Gilbert, Michael G. Wilson. Obviously Michael G. Wilson sort of taking over from Cubby Broccoli when he died. And he's the step brother of Barbara Broccoli. And we got the wonderful Bond girls in the film. This was at the height of, you know, the sort of Bond girls that we got, and then, you know, sort of all the women. Yeah, it was fantastic. Really nice sort of black and white images here. Got some more Bond girls. This was Jaws' love interest, and you see how tall the guy was. And then on the back we've got some cast and crew information. And then on the back you've got just that shot of Bond and Dr. Goodhead. Yeah, I've had to sellotape it across because I think it got ripped at some point. So yeah, really wonderful sort of piece of memorabilia there from the 70s. Guys, that was my look at the film Moonraker. As I say, I still love putting this film on every now and again. You know, it's a childhood favourite. Probably not the best Bond film, certainly, but yeah, I still really enjoy it. You know, that globe-trotting adventure, sort of larger than life. Yeah, it's crazy, but a lot of fun, and you know, fantastic for sort of Roger Moore at the time of playing the character. And again, yeah, what a nice sort of piece of memorabilia to have, this wonderful programme that came out at the time. As I say, I'm pretty sure that was given out at the cinema, or you could buy it or something, I can't remember, but yeah, really good. Anyway, thanks very much for watching the video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this look at Moonraker, celebrating 60 years of Bond.